What would you do if life handed you everything you thought you wanted, but at the cost of the one thing you loved most? That was the impossible choice Jack Reynolds faced, a choice that would leave an entire city whispering his name in disbelief. But before the world knew him as the man who said no to power, wealth, and privilege, Jack was just a father, an ordinary man with extraordinary devotion. Jack Reynolds lived in a small rented house on the outskirts of the city, with peeling paint on the walls and creaking floors that spoke of 1,000 sacrifices. Life hadn't been kind to him. His wife had passed away when their daughter, Lily, was just a baby, leaving him to juggle long hours at construction sites and quiet nights filled with lullabies. But Jack never complained. For him, Lily was worth every sleepless night and every calloused hand. She was his reason, his light, his entire world. On a stormy evening, Jack was driving home after finishing a late shift. His old pickup truck rattled against the rain-soaked road, headlights slicing through sheets of water. Just ahead, a screech of tires ripped through the night, followed by the sickening crash of twisting metal. Jack slammed on his brakes. A black luxury sedan had skidded off the road and slammed against a guardrail, sparks still flickering from the impact. Without a second thought, Jack leapt out into the downpour. Inside the crushed car was Vanessa Mitchell, the city's most powerful and feared CEO. Newspapers called her the Iron Lady of Business. To Jack, she was just a stranger in need. Smoke hissed from the engine as Jack pried open the mangled door with his bare hands. The air reeked of gasoline. Vanessa, unconscious, hung limp against the seatbelt. Jack's muscles screamed as he yanked her free, hoisting her into his arms and carrying her away just moments before the vehicle erupted into flames. By the time the paramedics arrived, Jack was soaked to the bone, shivering but steady, holding Vanessa's hand as she stirred awake. "You're safe now," he whispered, his voice rough but kind. For a brief second, her sharp, commanding eyes softened, meeting his with something rare, gratitude. That night, Jack disappeared quietly into the shadows, never mentioning his name, never asking for thanks. But fate had other plans. The crash became headline news. Reporters swarmed the hospital. Who had saved the city's untouchable CEO? Vanessa demanded to know. After days of searching, they found him, a construction worker, a widower, a man who lived paycheck to paycheck. Vanessa called him into her glass-walled office on the top floor of her towering empire. Jack stood there in his worn boots and faded shirt, a sharp contrast to the polished marble beneath his feet. She studied him with curiosity. "You saved my life," she said simply, her voice carrying both power and vulnerability. "And I repay debts. Tell me what you want: money, a house, a job at my company. Anything." Jack shifted uneasily, his hands rough and scarred. "I don't want anything," he said. Her brows furrowed. "Everyone wants something." "I already have everything I need," Jack replied. "My daughter." But Vanessa wasn't used to hearing no. She pressed harder, offering him more: wealth, security, even influence that could change his entire future. For a moment, Jack thought of Lily's small bed, the leaking roof, the bills stacked on the counter. The temptation gnawed at him. Any father would have said yes. But then he remembered his promise, to raise Lily with honesty, to teach her the value of integrity over wealth, love over power. He knew that trading his soul for comfort would betray everything he wanted her to believe in. So he looked Vanessa in the eye and said the words that stunned her board of directors, and later stunned the world. "No." The silence that followed was heavier than the storm that night. Vanessa was speechless. No one had ever turned her down. "Why?" she whispered. "Because the life you're offering," Jack said gently, "wouldn't be mine. And my daughter deserves a father who chooses love over ambition." Tears stung Vanessa's eyes, though she quickly masked them. For the first time, she understood that true strength wasn't measured in boardrooms or bank accounts, but in the quiet sacrifices of ordinary people. The story spread like wildfire. Newspapers called Jack the man who said no to a billionaire. To some, he was a fool. To others, he was a hero of principle. But to Lily, he was simply Dad, the man who tucked her in at night, the man who chose her over the world. And as for Vanessa, the woman who had everything, she found herself haunted by the one man who wanted nothing from her at all. She would never forget the crash, nor the lesson Jack Reynolds taught her, that sometimes the richest people are those who live with love, not luxury. Jack's story isn't about saying no to money, it's about saying yes to what truly matters. He proved that courage isn't just about running into flames, but also about walking away from temptation when your heart knows the truth. Because at the end of the day, wealth fades, power crumbles, but love, the kind a father carries for his child, that lasts forever.